Unit 47C. My name is Cassie Doyle. I'm 31 years old. My husband Marcus and I used to buy abandoned storage units at auction. We haven't been to an auction in 2 months, and we're never going to another one. And I want to explain why. Because there's a facility called Blue Ridge Self-Storage, about 20 minutes outside of town, and there is a unit there. Unit 47C. The door is rolled up. There are 7 cardboard boxes inside, labeled with the days of the week. If you ever find yourself at that auction, and the auctioneer walks past that unit, and you feel the urge to ask why, please, I'm begging you, just keep walking. Let me tell you how it started. Marcus and I got into the storage auction business about 1.5 years ago. Before that, I worked in marketing and Marcus worked in insurance, and we were both miserable. Then Marcus's cousin invited us to a storage auction one Saturday, just to watch, and we caught a bug. The bug went like this. You show up at a self-storage facility on auction day. The facility puts up abandoned units, ones where the renter has stopped paying and can't be reached. The auctioneer rolls up the door. You get to look inside, but you can't touch anything. You can't open boxes. You bid based on what you can see. Winner takes everything. Furniture, clothes, boxes, garbage bags, whatever's in there is yours. Most of it is junk. That's the honest truth. Most units are somebody's failed self-storage bet, full of broken furniture and boxes of old paperwork and things they meant to sell on Facebook Marketplace and never got around to. But every once in a while, you get a good one. 6 months in, Marcus and I bought a unit for $400 that had a 1978 comic book collection in it. We sold the collection for $11,000. I filmed the reveal for my social media account. The video hit 12 million views on the app I use. I'll just call it the app, because I don't want to name it here. That video changed our lives. My follower count went from about 2,000 to 31,000 overnight. Brands started reaching out. We started getting recognized at auctions by other pickers. Marcus and I quit our jobs a month later and started doing storage auctions. Full-time, we were a team. He handled logistics, the van, the sorting, the actual physical labor. I handled the camera, the social media. The marketplace listings, it worked. We were making a living. We weren't rich, but we weren't miserable anymore. Then we went to Blue Ridge Self-Storage. Blue Ridge Self-Storage is one of the biggest facilities in the region. 1,200 units, spread out over 4 buildings, on a lot of about 6 acres just off the highway. The auctioneer there is a man named Roy Ackerman. Older guy, maybe late 60s, silver hair, always wore the same tan Carhartt jacket even in summer. He'd been running the auctions at Blue Ridge for 11 years. Everybody knew Roy. Everybody liked Roy. That morning there were about 15 bidders at the auction, standard turnout for Blue Ridge. I was filming a walk and talk for my account as we moved down the row of units up for bid. We got to Unit 47C. Roy walked past it. I stopped filming for a second and looked at the unit. The door was rolled up. Inside I could see boxes. Not a lot of stuff, just a few boxes, stacked neatly along the back wall. It was clearly a unit with contents in it. It was clearly abandoned, and Roy had just walked past it without a word. Marcus flagged him down. "Hey, Roy, you skipped one." Roy didn't look at the unit, he said very quietly. "That one's not up for auction today," Marcus said. "The door's open, there's stuff in it. What's the deal?" Roy hesitated. And here's the thing. Roy Ackerman had never hesitated at a single auction I'd ever been to. He was the smoothest, fastest, most confident auctioneer in the state. He talked so fast you needed subtitles. And now he was standing there in front of Unit 47C, quiet, looking at his boots. He said, "The paperwork on that one is complicated. It's been complicated for a long time. I don't put it up." That was when Marcus made the mistake. My husband, God love him, is the kind of man who cannot leave a bargain alone, he said. "All right. Well, I'll give you $100 cash for it. Right now, sight unseen, off the books, you and me." Roy looked at him for a long moment. Then he looked at me. Then he looked at the camera in my hand. He said, 200. And you turn that camera off. I turned the camera off. Marcus pulled $200 bills out of his wallet and handed them over. Roy pulled a small brass key out of his jacket pocket. He handed it to Marcus. Then he said something strange. He said, "This is for a padlock that isn't on the door. It's never been on the door. In 11 years of me working here, that door has never had a padlock." Marcus laughed. "Then why are you giving me a key?" Roy said, "In case." That was it. He turned and walked back to the group of bidders and started the next unit. He didn't look at us again for the rest of the morning. As we were driving out of the parking lot, Marcus said, "Weirdest thing. Did you catch that at the end?" I said. "What?" he said. Roy said, "I'm sorry," right before he walked away. "I don't think he meant for me to hear it, but I did," he said. "I'm sorry." We came back that evening after the facility had closed to clear the unit. We had a key to the front gate. Every regular bidder at Blue Ridge got one. It was part of the deal, so you could come back to clear units at your own pace. The facility was completely empty. Not another car in the lot. Not another soul in sight. Just the hum of the fluorescent lights in the corridors and the sound of our footsteps on the concrete. Unit 47C was at the end of the last row, in the corner of Building D, where the light in the ceiling flickered. I remember thinking, of course it's in the flickering light corner. Of course, Marcus rolled up the door. I turned on my camera. I had promised Roy I'd turn it off during the auction, not forever. The unit was small, 10 feet by 10 feet, and it was organized. That's what struck me first. In a year and a half of buying storage units, I had never once seen a unit that was organized. Every abandoned unit I'd ever opened was a disaster. Furniture crammed in sideways, boxes stacked to the ceiling, garbage bags full of clothes exploding out of every corner. This was neat, almost clinical. 7 cardboard boxes, stacked in a single row along the back wall, all the same size, all plain brown corrugated cardboard, all sealed with clear packing tape. Each box had a single word written on the side in black marker. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That was it. That was the whole unit. I filmed the boxes for my account. Marcus laughed nervously and said, "Well, this is either the world's most boring unit or the most interesting one." I reached for Monday. Marcus stopped my hand. He said, "Wait, let's take them home first. Sort them there. This place gives me the creeps." I agreed. We loaded the 7 boxes into the van. It took 2 trips. Then we closed the unit door. We couldn't lock it. There was no padlock, and Roy's key was for a lock that didn't exist, and we walked back to the van. On our way out, we passed the front office. The lights were off. The office had been closed for hours. But there was someone standing at the window. A woman, middle-aged, dark hair pulled back, looking out at the parking lot. Watching us leave, I waved out of habit. She didn't move. Marcus, driving, said, "Was that Roy's wife or something?" I said, "I don't know. I didn't see anyone else here today." We drove home. We opened Monday in the garage. Marcus and I had converted our 2-car garage into a sorting and photography space when we started the reselling business. Big folding table in the middle for laying out contents. Ring lights around it for filming. A backdrop for product photos. All our tools for cleaning, testing, and packaging in cabinets along the wall. I set up my camera on its tripod. Marcus cut the tape on Monday with a box cutter. We opened the flaps. Inside was a folded outfit. Women's clothing. A white blouse, folded neatly. Size medium. Black slacks. Black flats, size 7.5. A silver bracelet in a small velvet pouch. A pair of reading glasses in a hard case. A hairbrush. A tube of lipstick. And a wristwatch. I picked up the wristwatch to look at it. It was ticking. Somebody had wounded it recently. Marcus said, "Someone packed this last week." I told him he was being paranoid. I said, "Look, this is nice stuff. The blouse is Ann Taylor. The shoes are barely worn. This unit's going to pay for itself easy." I reached for Tuesday. Tuesday was a different outfit. Same woman, obviously. Same size. Same style. A grey sweater. Jeans. sneakers, size 7.5, a different watch, a different pair of earrings, another hairbrush, another tube of lipstick, this one a different shade. I noticed the hairbrush. There were strands of dark hair in the bristles, just a few. But they were there, and the lipstick, when I turned it in my hand, was worn down. Used half of it was gone. Somebody had been wearing this lipstick, for weeks maybe, before it ended up in this box. Wednesday, a dress, modest, professional, nude pantyhose still in the original package, a cardigan, another hairbrush, another watch, another lipstick. Thursday, another outfit. Friday, another outfit. By the time we opened Friday, Marcus had stopped talking. He was just standing there, staring at the sorting table, which was now covered in 5 complete outfits. 5 hairbrushes, 5 wristwatches, 5 tubes of lipstick, he said. Cassie, I said. I know, he said. These are all the same size, same brands, same style. This is one woman's clothes. All of it, I said. So? Maybe she was decluttering. Maybe she was going through a hard time and packed everything up, he said. There's hair in every brush. There's makeup on every lipstick. These weren't decluttered. These have all been worn recently. Look at the watch in Monday's box, it's still ticking. Somebody wound it. Someone winds these watches. I didn't have an answer. We stopped opening boxes. We left Saturday and Sunday, sealed on the sorting table. We went inside. We poured drinks. We tried to talk ourselves down. Marcus wanted to take the boxes back the next morning. Give them back to Roy. Get our $200 back or not. Just give the boxes back and walk away, and never think about it again. I wanted to open Saturday and Sunday. I wanted to know. I said maybe it was a woman who died. Maybe her family packed her things and put them in storage and never came back. Maybe it was a divorce, and she was leaving pieces of her old life behind. One day at a time. There were 100 explanations. None of them were criminal. Just weird, Marcus said. Then why did Roy say sorry? I didn't have an answer for that either. We went to bed. Marcus fell asleep. I couldn't at around 2:30 in the morning. I got out of bed and went out to the garage. I was going to open Saturday just to know. The garage light was already on. I hadn't turned it on. I hadn't been. I hadn't been out there since Marcus and I came inside 4 hours earlier. And the garage light doesn't turn on by itself. It's a pull-chain fixture in the ceiling. I stood in the doorway between the kitchen and the garage for a long time before I pushed the door open. The sorting table had been rearranged. The 5 outfits, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, were no longer folded. They had been laid out, flat, in the shape of a person. Blouse where the torso would go, slacks below, shoes at the feet, watch on the wrist. Hairbrush at the head, with the hair pulled out of the bristles and fanned across the table like it was still attached to a scalp. 5 outfits, 5 bodies made of clothing, laid out side by side across my sorting table, from left to right, in the order of the days of the week, and the side door of the garage, the one that leads out to the driveway, was standing wide open. I woke Marcus up. He came out to the garage. He looked at the table. He looked at the open door. He looked at me, and then he went to the kitchen and got a knife. We didn't sleep for the rest of the night. At sunrise, we drove back to Blue Ridge Self-Storage. Roy wasn't there. The front office was being run by the woman we'd seen at the window the night before. Her name tag, said Diane Ackerman. She was Roy's wife. I explained what happened. I don't remember exactly what I said. I remember I was crying by the end of it. Marcus was standing next to me with his arms crossed, jaw tight. Diane listened without expression. When I was done, she asked me one question. She said, "How many boxes did you open?" I said 5. She closed her eyes for a long moment. Then she opened them and said very quietly, "You need to sit down, both of you. I have to tell you something, and Roy isn't here to do it, so it has to be me." This is what Diane told us. Unit 47C has been rented continuously for 11 years. The renter pays in cash in advance every January. She has never missed a payment. She has never been late. Nobody at Blue Ridge has ever seen her rent it. The payments arrive in the mail. Envelope, cash, unit number, no return address. The unit has never had a padlock. That was the one condition the renter established, in a note included with the very first payment. The door stays unlocked. Anyone can look inside, but nobody is to remove the contents. Roy has never put Unit 47C up for auction. Not once in 11 years the unit is paid for. It doesn't legally qualify for auction. But every couple of years someone notices it. Someone like Marcus. Someone who sees an unlocked unit full of boxes and thinks it's abandoned. Someone who pushes. Roy has a thing about him. He can't say no when someone pushes. I asked Diane, "How many times has he sold this unit?" She said, 6 in 11 years. Marcus said, "What happened to the other 5 buyers?" Diane looked at him. She said, "That's why Roy always says sorry." She pulled a manila folder out from under the counter. She opened it. Inside were newspaper clippings, 6 of them, spanning 11 years. 6 missing persons reports. 6 people who had bought Unit 47C. 6 people whose families never saw them again. Diane said, "Roy keeps meaning to stop. He keeps meaning to just tell people no when they ask, but when someone offers cash, sight unseen, he sells it. And then a week later they're gone, and he cries. And he tells me he won't do it again. And then someone else comes along, and someone else pushes." She looked at me. "How many boxes did you say you opened?" I said, 5. She looked at her watch. She said, "You have 2 days. If you're going to run, run now. Take the boxes with you. Do not leave them anywhere she can find them. And do not, under any circumstances, open Saturday or Sunday." I asked her, "Who is she?" Diane said, "I don't know, but she visits the unit every week." On Sunday nights, Roy has seen her on the security cameras, letting herself in. She has a key that shouldn't work on any of our locks, but it does. She stays for about 20 minutes. Then she leaves. She's the reason we've never gone to the police. Marcus said, "Why not?" Diane said, "Because Roy tried once, 6 years ago." After the 3rd buyer disappeared, he went to the police station. He gave them everything he had. He came home that night, and we opened our closet, mine and his, and every single piece of my clothing had been folded and stacked in 7 neat piles, labeled with the days of the week. She paused. "She lets us know when she's watching." Roy stopped calling the police. We drove home. We were going to load up the boxes, all of them. We were going to leave town. We would figure out the rest from a hotel room, hours from here, in a state we didn't live in. We pulled into our driveway. Our garage door was open. The sorting table was visible from where we sat in the van. It was empty. The 5 outfits were gone. Monday through Friday. Every piece of clothing, every hairbrush, every watch, every lipstick, gone. The 2 boxes we hadn't opened, Saturday and Sunday, were also gone. In their place, in the middle of the empty sorting table, were 7 new cardboard boxes, plain brown corrugated cardboard, labeled in black marker, in the same handwriting: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They weren't my boxes. Marcus opened Monday. His hands were shaking so badly, he could barely hold the box cutter. Inside was a folded outfit, men's clothing, Marcus's size: a shirt, pants, a belt, socks, shoes. Marcus's watch, the one he owned, the one his father had given him for his college graduation. Brown leather band, scratched face, a small dent in the case from where he'd dropped it at our wedding, except when he looked down at his own wrist, his watch was still there. 2 of them, same watch, same scratches, same dented case, same worn-out leather band, one on his wrist. One in the box. I opened Tuesday, my own clothing, my size, my brand's clothes I owned. Clothes hanging in my closet upstairs, right now still on their hangers, that I could go check on if I had the courage. We opened all 7 boxes, 14 outfits total, 7 of Marcus, 7 of me, all our clothes, all duplicated, all packed and folded by someone who had been inside our house. Underneath the last outfit, in the last box, the Sunday box, was the sweatshirt I was wearing at that exact moment. My favorite Sunday morning sweatshirt, grey, worn thin, a coffee stain on the sleeve. I could never get out, I was wearing it. I looked down. It was on my body. I lifted it out of the box. Underneath it was a note, written in the same handwriting as the labels. It said, "You took my week. I need a new one. I've been shopping. I hope you don't mind that I let myself in. I always try to be tidy. See you Sunday, the tenant of Unit 47C. That was 2 months ago. We didn't go home that night. We packed what we could carry, and we left. We're staying with my sister, 3 states away. Marcus quit reselling. I deleted my account. We don't talk about the boxes. We don't talk about the sweatshirt. I threw it away at a rest stop halfway across the country, along with every other piece of clothing I had been wearing that day. Marcus threw away his watch, both of them, the one from the box and the one his father had given him. We're okay. We're safe. I think we're safe. But 2 nights ago, I was scrolling the reselling forums I used to be part of, and someone posted about Blue Ridge self-storage, about their auction, coming up next weekend, and they posted a photo they had taken during the walkthrough. There was a unit in the background of the photo, door rolled up, boxes inside, stacked in a neat row along the back wall, labeled with days of the week. Someone in the comments said, "Hey, that unit's door is open. Is it up for auction? $200 and it's mine, sight unseen." I closed the forum. I didn't respond. I don't know who the commenter was. I don't know their name. But if you're listening to this, and next weekend you find yourself at Blue Ridge Self-Storage, and Roy Ackerman walks past our unit at the end of the last row in Building D, please, I'm begging you, just keep walking, and if he says sorry, run.